This Matchday 37 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by Royal Retros. Royal Retros has jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, and sweatshirts from all the old school teams that you love. Use the promo code SGPN for 10% off your order today. That's code SGPN at royalretros.com. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Wednesday, May the 8th, and we are here to have a look around a full slate of Premier League action, the penultimate full slate of Premier League action coming up over this weekend. We're going to dive into the EFL Championship playoffs as well. We'll preview the first legs of those games, which take place on Sunday, and talk about the couple of Champions League games that have just finished literally moments ago. Joining me to get involved in all of that is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Just coming down off all the excitement of that Champions League stuff. What a finish in that game. I was a bit disappointed. I would like to have seen Bayern go through. But at the same time, cashed another winning bet. It's been a very good week for me, Malcolm. Man United getting spanked off Palace. Palace team total hit for me. I took Dortmund to qualify last night, and I took both teams to score and over 2.5 tonight. So very good. Full house again in the Champions League. Finished off the Premier League with another winner. So that was 7 out of 10 and a really good profit for the weekend. So yeah, let's hopefully keep it rolling into this weekend.
Well, I don't want to talk about Manchester United too soon. I feel like we should drag it out. We should leave it till later on. We should savour it, the anticipation, but with a little bit of foreplay here. Yeah, do you remember I said on the show last week when I made these picks, Baz, that I felt like I was unlucky the week before, so I was pretty much going with the same picks because I felt like the process was right. I made the same picks and they've all lost in the same way. Again, PSG somehow couldn't score. Bayern, I picked to qualify. That was fine until the 89th minute. Club Brugge were absolutely fine until Fiorentina scored in the last minute again and knocked them out. So I've done the same thing. I mean, it's the definition of madness, isn't it? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. And I've just lost in the same way. And if they were all playing each other next week, Barry, I would do the same thing again. What about old Josselou Lulu? He might score one, he might score two. Josselou Lulu. If you're shite, you'll score a few. There's the old Newcastle song to go.
I can imagine a lot of our American listeners don't even realise that Josselou used to be a Newcastle United legend. For all the wrong reasons.
He was shite, Barry.
He was absolute dog shite, yes. But
that game ended with two ex-Stoke City strikers on the pitch with Eric Choupo-Moting up top for one team and Josselou Lulu up front for the other team. I mean, what's the world coming to?
Crazy. But yeah, lots of drama. I would like to have seen the old German final, to be fair. I'd now like to see Dortmund win it. But Real Madrid just find a way every time, don't they? It's hard to oppose them. They should have been ahead in the first half. It was a smash and grab from Bayern. So really, you've got no complaint. But again, when you're 1-0 up, and I did think Tuchel dropped his arse a little bit because if they see it out 1-0, no one really says anything. But the minute they equalise, all his substitutions look terrible. His team suddenly about 50% of what it should be. As soon as he took Kane off, I thought that's too early. 80th minute, 88th minute, 90th minute, maybe see out injury time or whatever. But he brought off Kane with about 10 minutes to go of normal time, didn't he? And I just thought that's going to look bad if you. And then they had that break at 1-1. They had a break where they were 3-on-1. And they've got nobody of any quality up there to finish it off. Whereas Kane's there, you'd sort of fancy him to do it. Yeah, interesting finish. I thought linesman mentioned in the chat. Linesman was a bit quick with his flag. I don't think Dortmund player was offside in them final seconds, but at the same time, the whistle goes and Real Madrid possibly stopped anyway. But who knows if it would have ended in a goal? Who knows?
I was going to mention the refereeing in the VAR on both games, kind of right until then, because it was just 1,000 times better, so much less intrusive. And even when they had a big decision, the push for what looked like Real Madrid's equaliser, the VAR says, well, go and have a look at that. So Terry goes and has a look at it for about one replay and then just disallows it. That would have taken 7 minutes in the Premier League going, oh, Derek, Tails thinks he might have pushed him. Oh, Tails, what do you think? I don't know. Let's ask Trevor. Trevor, do you want... Oh, Trevor's gone to the toilet. Fuck off. He clearly pushed him in the face. Just disallow it 10 seconds. Like, I'm not sure.
I mean, the onside for the goal as well. I think that automated offside works quite well, doesn't it? I know they're bringing it into the Premier League next year, but again, there's no complaints there. Whereas we didn't have all the pissing about drawn lines and all of this lot, looking at earlier phases of play and everything. But I mean, all season long in Europe, the officiating's been better and the use of VAR has been better. But we're still stuck with the same.
Lane's just put in the chat that if that was a Premier League game, it would still be going on now. And he's exactly right, yeah. There'd be 9 minutes left in that game. It's 10:20. Yeah, definitely. PSG the night before, there was no love lost really with PSG going out. I got the impression around my house and around some people I'd talked to and around Twitter and stuff that no one really gave two shits about PSG. There's nothing very likeable about them, Baz, is there? Just, I don't know what it is. They've never done anything personally to distress me, apart from that stupid handball. But that wasn't necessarily their fault. But I don't know, there's just something I'm not too keen on. I was happy for Dortmund to go through.
I mean, Dortmund are a very easy side to like as well, aren't they? Though it's
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but just easier to follow than Paris Saint-Germain. So yeah, I'll definitely be in Dortmund's corner come the final.
I agree with you there. Right, okay. So we need to be pretty rabid tonight, Baz. We decided we weren't going to talk too much junk because we've got 10 Premier League games, but also we've got the Championship to get through as well. So it's going to be an action-packed show. Yeah, I've got no other notes other than let's get to the games. Like I said, it's the second to last full slate. And then there are some midweek games. There's some teams with 3 games to play. They'll play next midweek, but it's the penultimate match week for a lot of teams. So we'll get on to it. Let's talk first about, if you are a hardcore baseball fan or just a degenerate sitting in an office looking for some afternoon action, either way, you'll want to make sure to subscribe to the MLB Gambling Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, the NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, are making it a lot more interesting. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing the pick-em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and plenty more. You can make your entries all basketball or mix and match across your other favourite sports, win up to 100 times your money, and it's loads of fun. Underdog is available in over 30 states, including California, Texas, and Canada, and have just launched Champions, the player versus player format in Florida. So sign up with our specific code PLGP to claim your special pick and a first-time deposit up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Premier League starts on Saturday at lunchtime, 12:30. Kick-off, which is 7:30 Eastern time. Fulham taking on Manchester City. Fulham are 12-1. The draw is 6-1. Manchester City are 1-5, minus 500. I don't know what you thought about this week, Baz, but when we've had a decent week, now you picked more winners than me. I picked 4, but there was a couple of nice prices, so I finished in the winners column. And again, I felt like most of my stuff was okay. So I find it easier. You just think, oh yeah, I know what Fulham are, I know what Man City are, and it's you're not scratching around. We've sat here and handicapped with the fear before a little bit, but I haven't had that this week. I imagine if you're similar, like I say, you had a great week, so you must be all over it. This was a hard start with a 5-1 on favourite, Baz. And I just immediately, without thinking about it, went to look at a pick that's cashed several weeks in a row. And I'd be very surprised if you haven't considered this, Baz, at least. Never mind picked it. And the pick is 6-4, so it's plus 150. And it's Man City to score to score in both halves was one we looked at, because we have picked that recently. That's 4-6, minus 150, which I think is a decent parlay piece. But Fulham are just sort of on the slide a little bit. Man City absolutely determined to go and win this game. There's it's City to win both halves, but 6-4 plus 150. Cashed it last week against Wolves. Looked a little bit dodgy when Wolves scored in the second half, because City had then to go and get 2, which they did. At Fulham, you can see them big in 1-0 at half time, winning 3-0. So City will win both halves, Baz. 6-4 plus 150.
Yeah, I looked at that. I looked at the score both halves as well, and like it was a little bit short. Only a smidge too short, because I've gone for one that's not much different, to be fair. I don't mind your pick. I thought it was a fairly straightforward one, really. But I have gone short. Just kick the week off with a winner. Man City looking strong again, and Fulham going in the opposite direction, as you say. Out of form, 1 win and 7 in the league. And if City are going to drop any points in the running, I just don't see it being in this game. 6-game winning streak for City in the league, 24 goals scored in that streak. The only slight struggle was the away game against Forest. I've seen it out comfortably in the end, but sort of made hard work of it at times. And each of the other 5 wins in that 6-game streak, they scored at least 4 goals, put 4 past Villa, Palace, Brighton, 5 past Luton and Wolves. So plenty of goals around for City. And I've just gone for City goals. City to score 3 or more. So City team total over 2.5 at 8-11. A little small, short one to get us kicked off with a winner for the week.
Sometimes a little short one will do the business, Barry. On to the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, of which there are loads. 6 is the answer. Bournemouth v Brentford. These are 10 a.m. Eastern starts. Bournemouth are a shade of odds on, 19-20, minus 105. The draw 14-5 plus 280. Brentford 13-5 plus 260. But
yeah, this one was just a straight pick for me based on the respective form of the two sides. Really, Brentford first come into this with just 2 wins in 13, and they were wins against relegation contenders Luton and Sheff Utd. But it's mainly the Bournemouth home form that I'm drawn to, and their home form versus Brentford's away form. Away from home, Brentford, I think, 5 defeats in the last 7, really, really struggling on the road. And Bournemouth, on the other hand, in home games, they've gone 6 unbeaten, and they've won 4 of the 6 as well. And I just think Bournemouth are a better side. Currently pushing for a top half finish. They're hard to beat at home, and I think they're a decent enough price here. So I'm just going to take a straight up money line pick here. Bournemouth to beat Brentford at 19-20.
Bournemouth didn't start very well, did the Baz? And since October the 28th, Barry, when they got their act together, Bournemouth have accumulated the 5th most points in the Premier League. 2/3 of a season, 5th in the table. So what you're giving me here is 5th against 16th at even money. I agree with everything you said. Like, it makes no sense. I think they're a really, really nice play. It was an easy play. They did okay at Arsenal as well last week. Their only recent defeats are away from home. They beat Brighton 3-0 at home last time. That's a decent comparison. Brentford had back-to-back wins in that form line, but they're against Luton and Sheffield United. They're the only 2 wins in there. I still don't think they're very good. Bournemouth 19-20, minus 105. Without getting sidetracked, Barry, did you duff up those 13-year-old Dutch girls the other day? What happened there?
Got beat 1-0.
You got beat 1-0?
Yeah, we played 2 games. It was a very hot day, very warm. We played 2 games. We played the local rivals first, beat them 3-2. And then we played the Dutch teams. It was their first game. It was our second game, and we were a little bit knackered. We'd already played 40 minutes of football in the heat before them. So I think the fatigue got to us a little bit. It was roasting on Monday afternoon. It was a lovely day for it. But yeah, they beat us 1-0 with a late goal. A little bit unlucky. We created enough, but didn't beat them.
So we signed that 13-year-old Dutch striker for 75 million or something.
She was good, actually. Their striker was very good, but
form doesn't translate, but
it doesn't translate into English football.
Form doesn't translate. Barry Ten Hag there with a load of excuses. He supposed your team was one of the most dynamic and entertaining teams in that tournament with a bat.
Yeah, I mean the foolish thing we did was we played those 2 games in the heat on Monday before playing a league game last night. So we had a midweek game trying to catch up on some cancelled fixtures. And again, we were absolutely knackered yesterday. We got duffed up 3-1 in the league as well. So bad week all round.
Okie doke. Right. So much for not getting sidetracked. Right. 3 o'clock Saturday continues. This is my favourite pick of the season, Barry, ever. In fact, in my life, 48 years, best pick I've ever made. Everton taking on Sheffield United. Everton are 11-25, minus 227. The draw 72 plus 350. Sheffield United are 6-1. Everton had that 1-1 with Luton last Friday night. Prior to that, they had 3 wins in a row, which were all at home and all with clean sheets. So that's 4 in a row that have gone under 2.5 for Everton. However, everything Sheffield United do flies in the face of that, Barry. The last 4 games of the match totals have been 4, 6, 6, and 5. Both teams to score. So at that point, I had to veer away from that sort of malarkey. I started looking into the stats. I looked into the corner stats. Bob came through and wanted over 10.5. I don't know where he got that from. I probably shouldn't have done that build a bit with him last week because he's already fired up Everton corner stats from somewhere. But I've ended up with Sheffield United shots on target, Baz. Didn't think I'd go there, did you? Barry's taking his cap off. In fact, he's that impressed. Sheffield United shots on target. They had 4 at Man United a couple of weeks ago, 5 at Newcastle, where they played like Brazil by 25 minutes. They had 4 against Forest. They had 11 against Burnley. And then in brackets, Baz, 2 against Brentford. Fair enough, Shay. They had 11 against Chelsea. So that's 4 in a row and 5 of the last 6. Over 3.5 Sheffield United shots on target is even money, Barry. Get in. What a pick that is.
Right, Malcolm. The question for me last week with Everton was, will they still have the same level of motivation now that it's secured their safety? And I think I was right to worry about it in the end. I saw a 1-1 draw against Luton. But the pressure's off them now. And the same can be said about Sheff United, whereas Luton last week were obviously fighting a bit more. Everton at home, good form, 4 wins in a row. And as you've mentioned, there's a lot of conflicts in the form lines. Everton, 4 clean sheets in a row at home. Sheff United have only failed to score once in 9 goals. Sheff United games have gone over 2.5 goals in 9 of the last 10. Everton games have gone under in 4 of the last 6. In the last 4 and 6 of their last 7. So like you said, absolute conflict on both sides. Really, really tricky one. So I've gone for something a little bit different, Malcolm. I delved into the stats market, and it's a Sheff United. It's a Sheff United stat, Malcolm, because they're okay going forward. It's at the other end that's the problem. Those Everton clean sheets were aided quite a bit by good displays from Pickford. I actually went in looking for Pickford saves. Couldn't find the prices for those, so I went for Sheffield United shots on target, Malcolm. Because they average 4 per game. And Everton,
you didn't.
I don't have, I swear, I'm reading off my notes. Yeah. I've got the exact same pick. Sheff United average 4 per game. Everton give up 5 per game over the season. Sheff United have hit 4 shots in 5 of their last 6. And Pickford's made 4 saves in 5 straight games. So Sheff United shots on target over 3.5 at evens, I think is a great pick. So my pick here, Everton v Sheff United, Malcolm, is Sheff United shots on target over 3.5 at evens. What are the chances of that?
That is miraculous, Baz. I was so pleased with myself earlier on because I had a proper look around, I had a proper look around.
So did I.
That better win now. If that loses, that's it. I think we should just wrap in, Baz.
That's why my top went on the floor. I could not believe you made that pick. I absolutely couldn't believe it. Of all the things, that was bonkers. Unbelievable.
Shit in a bag and punch it, as they say. That is quite remarkable. 3 o'clock kickoff is Newcastle against Brighton and Hove Albion. Newcastle 9-17, minus 188. The draw 15-4, plus 375. Brighton are 4-1, Bat.
Yeah, so Brighton stopped the rot a little bit last week. 1-0 win over Villa. Prior to that, they'd gone 6 without a win. But of more interest for me here is their away form. They've no win in 7 away from home and just 1 win in 10. And again, that win came against Sheff United. We always draw a line through those ones and don't really count them. Newcastle at home, 7 without defeat, won 4 of the last 5, scored at least 3 goals in those 4 wins as well. And they're getting a few players back now. Joe Linton was back last week, came off the bench. Wilson was back. Almiron. Pope could even be back. Possibly he was on the bench last week. So getting a bit stronger. Still all to play for. With Chelsea right up behind us. Man United falling apart. Newcastle have still got a bit of a fight on their hands to secure a European place. And I think you have to stick with Newcastle still at home. I still don't think Brighton are very good. I didn't watch the game against Villa, but you'd said they weren't really... It was a bit of a smash and grab job from Brighton. I think Newcastle goals, once again, it served me well this season, particularly in home games. And we've done this in 4 of the last 5 and 5 of the last 7 at home. Newcastle team total over 2.5 at 11-10.
Oh, Barry. 5 of 7 Newcastle have won, 2.63 goals per game in the last 8. Won 12 of 18 at home. They've been great at home. Brighton did take advantage of what was a bad spot for Villa last week. But it was a rebound off the penalty. I mean, they played all right. And like I say, Villa weren't really at it. They haven't scored an away goal in forever, apart from that OG at Burnley, which, remember, was their goal of the month last year. If you remember, Brighton came up here at a very similar stage to the season last year when Newcastle needed to win to secure Champions League football. It threw in a game that I thought was rigged. And still in 5 years, when you're watching a Netflix documentary about that game being rigged, you'll remember, oh, shit, Mara said that. Because they couldn't get out. It's not that they couldn't. They didn't try at any point to get out of their own 6-yard box. They just all stood there and fannied about until we scored. The way they set up and play isn't conducive against Newcastle, especially the way Newcastle are at the moment, hungry. And the good players, Isak, Gordon, those players who were going to press them to death are on form. I've got 2 bets, Baz. It was an absolute coin toss between Newcastle on the handicap or Newcastle team total over 2.5. So you've picked one. So I'll pick the other one. I'll take Newcastle minus 1.5. It's 5-4 plus 125. So it's ever so slightly a bigger price, but pretty much the same pick, Bazza. Okay. We'll move along. Talk about Royal Retros. We got a new sponsor here. Get your purse out, everyone. If you're looking to prove that you know ball, guessing it's not our kind of ball, what better way than to showcase your old school fandom than with some old school gear from a classic team? Royal Retros has jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, sweatshirts, and more from the vintage sports leagues and teams that you know and love. The Dirty Bird, the Orange Crush, or the Sack Exchange all make for sick jerseys for real fans. Dirty Bird means something completely different in this country, people. Use the promo code SGPN for 10% off your order today. That's SGPN at royalretros.com to take that 10% off today. 3 o'clock. Continue on Saturday with Tottenham Hotspur against Burnley. Tottenham 1-3, minus 300. The draw 17-4 plus 475. And Burnley are 13-2. Plus 650. Tottenham have completely shit the bed, haven't they? 4 defeats in a row, 4 calamitous defeats in a row as well, by the way. They've conceded 13 goals in those games. Now, 3 of those 4 were away. The only home game in that stretch was the Arsenal one, and Arsenal looked good. Although Arsenal put them to bed early. Tottenham I think the score flattered them a little bit. But Tottenham's home form has been a strength. I think Burnley's bubble was burst last week against Newcastle. They'd played well for a stretch. They'd given themselves a chance. And then last week, they were just absolutely smashed to smithereens. Found some scores here, Baz. Burnley are in the bottom 6. Correct, yes. The other 5 teams, Baz, in the bottom 6, at Tottenham, 2-1 Sheffield United, 2-1 Everton, 3-2 Brentford, 2-1 Luton, 3-1 Forest. 5 out of 5. Tottenham win with both teams to score. Absolute fail-safe, bulletproof system play. 11-10, plus 110. Tottenham win with both teams to score, Baz.
I like the theory. I like the pick, but it flies in the face of what I've gone for. We can both win, but it's going to be difficult. But I just got absolutely dragged in straight away by looking at the prices in the goals market. Over 2.5 goals, 2-9, Malcolm, minus 450. I've never seen a price in the Premier League, I don't think, as low as that for an under 2.5. So for an over 2.5. So the under 2.5 is 10-3 plus 330. Now, I wasn't expecting the overs to be a generous price, and you're automatically drawn to goals in Spurs games. But I didn't think it would be that bad. So then I get drawn to the unders. I think you have to at those prices. Now, 2 of the last 6 Spurs games went under 2.5. They had 2-0 defeat to Chelsea, 1-1 v West Ham. The other 4 were over, fair enough. But in those other 4 games, the majority of the goals were the opposition. Liverpool, Arsenal put goals past them. Can't remember who the other one was. Newcastle. Between Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle, they scored 11 goals. So a lot of the goals in Spurs games lately have been at the other end. Burnley won't score that many, that's for sure. And the Burnley form, 4 of their last 6, under 2.5 as well. It's a horrible pick. I know it's a horrible pick, but at the prices, the value's got to be on the unders and the goals. Fortunately for you, in your pick and mine, I've pushed it a little bit because the under 3.5 goals is still plus money. It's 4-7.
Right, you know, Baz.
It's 4-7 for over 3.5 goals. 4-7. That's ridiculous. Under 3.5 at 11-8. Purely at the prices, it's not where I expected to go when I opened up the prices for this game. But it's purely at the prices for me. I think it offers value. Spurs v Burnley under 3.5 goals at 11-8. And if you look at the form lines that you just reeled off, those scores, how many 2-1s was there in there?
3.
So getting plus
3
money,
out of 5.
or 3 out of 5.
Baz. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, good. I just have to go for the unders in this at that price.
Very much, Barry. That is an arse sniffer over the week. You have sniffed that one out. I saw some stats this week. I should have written them down or remembered them or Googled them or something. Because that Brentford Fulham game last week, the 0-0 draw, was only the 11th 0-0 in the entire season, which is remarkable. But they showed the amount of games that had gone over 3.5 goals. And it was 126 games more than the record. It was something like 1,050 was the record, and this season sitting on like 1,180 or something. So absolutely, goals have been a madness pass. But yeah, that price is too big. We've done quite well when we've zigged on a couple of those this season. So yeah, I've got no issues with that. I don't think if we said hello to everyone who's in the chat yet, Baz, I'm not sure we have. From the bottom up, Callum. MLB is going on concurrently, Callum. Captain Insano's 2-timing us. Harry Dougherty, Chelsea. Austin, who was on a streak, is in the chat. Captain Insano, Lee. Slick Rick was in early doors as well. So yeah, thanks everyone. It was Barry who was late, by the way. That's £6 in the Christmas fund, Baz. Yeah. Christmas parties looking up a little bit. 3 o'clock continue on Saturday. West Ham United against Luton Town. West Ham 4-5. The draw is 16-5 plus 320. Luton 14-5 plus 280.
West Ham pretty much look like they've packed up, haven't they? The season's really fizzling out for them. Just 1 win in 9 now. They've looked really poor in recent weeks. Conceded 5 to both Chelsea and Palace. Had a home defeat to Fulham. Only managed to draw against Liverpool, which is obviously disappointing. No, I mean the draw against Liverpool is probably the only positive in there for them lately. And it was positive for all of us, let's be honest. Really, his last chance saloon for Luton. They could confirm their relegation this weekend. Even with a win here, if Forest go and do something against Chelsea, it won't matter. Goal difference is too much. So coming towards the end of the road for Luton. But they've got to have a go at this. They've got to try and get something out of it. And then hope Chelsea do their bit. Luton will always get on the score sheet. Said this all season. Only Arsenal have shut them out. In the last 20 games, that's the only time they've been shut out was against Arsenal. The problem is they obviously can't keep clean sheets at the other end themselves. First thoughts, Mal, it's the classic over 2.5 and both teams to score. That's at 4-6. A little bit too short. So I'm going to take a bit of a punt on Luton here. Luton team total over 1.5 at 11-8. Now, Luton don't have much form for this lately. But at the same time, I think West Ham are on a bit of a slide now. And they've let in at least 2 in 4 straight league games. Everyone's putting at least 2 past them at the moment. So I'm going to take Luton to throw everything at West Ham. Last chance saloon. Luton over 1.5 team total at 11-8 for me.
I was going to ask you at the top of this, Baz. I think Lopetegui was due to sign his new contract today. So does that make any difference? Is a new manager bounce without a new manager a thing? Because some of them will be playing maybe for a contract or to impress him just a little bit. Any bothered about that now?
No, it doesn't come into it at all for me, that. I think
That's fine.
Ridiculous the way it's all gone on, to be honest.
Okay.
Why not just do all that behind the scenes? Why not just do all that behind the scenes if that's what's happening? And just announce it after the last game. Thank you, David Moyes, for everything. See you later. Why announce he's leaving before they play the last 2 games? It just seems a bit daft to me.
I agree with you. It doesn't achieve anything like. So West Ham remain in full fade. Then they've been a shambles away from home, but they do keep drawing at home. Baz, I think they've only won 1 win in 9, but I think they've drawn the last 3 at home, including that Liverpool one. This really is Luton's last chance. Luton have to go and win. 3 points behind Forest. They're not a big enough price for me to bet them to win because I think they could, but I mean they're under 3-1. Like I'd want a decent price against Luton, but still competitive. That 1-1 against Everton last week shows how competitive it was. So, not really fancying either team, Baz. I'll take the draw. I think the draw's a big price, 16-5, plus 320 between 2 teams who don't look capable of winning. The draw seems obvious. And this is a huge price, Baz. It's the 1-1 draw of the week. The 17-2 plus 850, Baz.
It's Malcolm's 1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
It is the 1-1 draw of the week between West Ham and Luton Town. 17-2 plus 850. We carry on Saturday with another 3 o'clock kickoff. What's old school this? On Saturday, Wolves taking on Crystal Palace. Wolves are 9-5 plus 180. The draw is 5-2 plus 250. Palace are 6-4 plus 150. So Palace going off favourites here. And Wolves are the other team, I think, along with West Ham, who've just checked out as well. 1 win in 8. And you want me to take 9-5 against one of the hottest teams in the league at the minute? Just doesn't appeal at all. Wolves don't appeal even a little bit here, but Palace are full of goals. They won comfortably the other night. It's hard to assess that form right because it was against the worst team in the league. But they defended well, equally, kept a clean sheet. They're 11-10 to score 2 or more. If they do that, I think they'll win. Therefore, I'll just take Palace at 6-4 plus 150. Keep it simple. Although I will shout out the Palace team total over 2.5. They could score 3 goals here, Baz. That's a nice price. That's 7-2 plus 350. So I think Palace to win. But if you're really in on Palace, get on that over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was the easiest one on the card. I think you've just got to keep going with Palace. I think Man United were awful the other day, but Palace equally were very, very good. And this 5-game unbeaten run they're on, which includes 4 wins, is really solid form. They've got wins in there against Liverpool and Newcastle, and they absolutely battered Man United and West Ham. So it is really solid. They've looked good and they're full of goals, as you say. Meanwhile, Wolves, 1 win in 8 league games, 5 defeats in there. And like you, I think Palace are a good price at 6-4. But I went the other way, Malcolm. I went for the team total because, I love a team total pick. But I sort of get your point. You almost don't see Wolves getting 2 goals at the moment.
It could.
That
was easy for me.
I see your reasoning, and it's fine. And I could easily have went either way. But the pick for me is Palace to score 2 or more at 11-10. And I agree with you. It's worth having a little punt on the over 2.5 as well. Absolutely.
Okay. So Saturday 3 o'clock's done. Tea time on Saturday, 5:30 kickoff, 12:30 Eastern time. Nottingham Forest take on Chelsea. Chelsea are 5-2 plus 250. The draw 14-5 plus 280. Chelsea a touch of odds on 19-20 minus 105. Bazza, lead us off.
I didn't like this one at all.
Yeah.
I mean, initially, before sort of diving into things, I thought it's another one where you just follow the form, and it feels to me like Chelsea are the team in the ascendancy. They've now got a European spot in their sights, so plenty to play for. Forest were unsuccessful this week in their appeal. Didn't get any points back, but I think last weekend's results will probably prove to be enough to save them. I think they'll be all right now. So my initial thoughts was Chelsea. Then I started to wobble a little bit because you look a bit closer and all the good stuff from Chelsea has come at Stamford Bridge. They've actually got no win in 6 away from home. Now, 3 of those were against City and Arsenal. They played City League and Cup, and they played Arsenal. But they did also fail to beat Sheff United away and fail to beat Brentford away as well. So that was a red flag for me. But then I thought, what have I seen from Forest lately to give me any confidence in that side of it? And ultimately, the answer is not enough. They were okay for large periods against Man City, but ultimately it was another defeat, a 2-0 defeat. It was one of the hardest on the card, this one for me. And I just had to go with a team that I feel are most likely to pick up a win at the moment, and that's Chelsea. I think Chelsea are just in a bit better form, and there is a little bit of a resurgence in them recently. We've seen a bit more from them. I think Chelsea to win this one at 19-20. It's not my favourite pick at all, but Forest v Chelsea, I'll take Chelsea to win at 19-20.
It is hard work. It's 2 of the flakiest teams, Baz, isn't it? Because Chelsea seem to have got their act together, Baz. That's mainly been at home, and their away form hasn't been good. They've actually only 3 of their last 9 games have been away from home. So I don't know what happened to the fixtures there. But in their away games, in that run, they had that draw. It's Sheffield United, which is shite. They got beaten 5 at the half. And then they had the 2-2 with Villa, where they came back, actually played well, came back from 2-0 down. So they've conceded 2, 5 and 2 in those 3 away games. Forest still desperately need a point, all 3. Really important win against Sheffield United. No patterns for Forest at all in the BTTS or the over-under markets. And I thought they'd been all right at home, Baz, recently. I thought they played quite well against City. City beat them 2-0. Forest made decent chances, and then before that, they scored 2 against Wolves, and they scored 3 against Fulham in the last 3 home games. Chelsea might win, but I've gone for the Forest team total, over 1.5 goals. It's a bigger price. It's 6-5 plus 120. Chelsea might win at 3-2. But Chelsea are odds on. So I'll just take this odds against, Baz. Forest to score over 1.5 at 6-5 plus 120. Both teams to score an over 2.5 is the pick from Lee, which fits in with just about everyone's handicap. Lazy bet though, Lee. Lazy. Sunday, the 12th of May, 4:30 kickoff, 11:30 Eastern time. Manchester United. Man United, brilliant. They take on Arsenal. Man United are 11-2 plus 650. The draw is 17-4 plus 425. Arsenal are 2-5 minus 250. Very much enjoyed that game on Monday. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a game of football that much. I was laughing out loud. I was laughing out loud so much that Betty came downstairs to ask what was the matter, what I was laughing at. And I just like pointed at the telly. And I tell you what's a damning thing. She's a 13-year-old girl, Baz. She's only just got into football since she started fancying boys because, like, footballers are good looking. And as she walked through, she said, "Didn't they used to be good?" And in a nutshell, that's a generation of people now. That's the age of people who don't know that Man United used to be good. And I'm fucking here for that. Every 45-year-old sitting in their Spider-Man pajamas has earned the misery that's coming. And I fucking lapped up every second of it and fucking inject that directly into my testicles. Finding a bet in this was horrible, Baz. Absolutely horrible. I wanted to find a nice price, but the bookies weren't having it. The bookies obviously had just finished laughing as well. But I watched them defend the other night. Palace won both halves, 2-0. So Arsenal can score in both halves. They can probably score multiple times in both halves. That's 5-6, Baz, minus 125. So, yeah, Arsenal to score in both halves. 5-6, minus 125.
That's a lovely pick. Like it. I mean, this could be carnage. It really could after watching Man United the other day. But then my first thought was, right, let's proceed with a bit of caution here. And remember those games between Man United and Liverpool, big games, big rivalries, where Man United were able to turn up, put in a performance for a change and spoil the party. And I thought about that for a couple of seconds and then I just came back to my senses and remembered that they'll probably have to start Evans and Casemiro at centre-half again. They'll probably have to start
Casemiro. Can we just take a second to admire his performance the other night? It was incredible.
It was something special, wasn't it?
His technique, his tactic was to lie down in front of whoever had the ball and see if they could get round him. And it turns out they could every time. It's like, oh, anyway, I'll have another go. Go on, lie down again, Casemiro. It was unbelievable. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Evans and Casemiro at centre-back. Anthony's probably going to have to start again. He offers absolutely nothing. And let's not forget, Onana will still be in goal. And that can only be a bad thing for Man United. And I just can't see how this current crop of Man United players will spoil anything for Arsenal here. And the difference with those Liverpool games was we've always known this season, Liverpool are vulnerable. You can always get goals against Liverpool. Arsenal, you don't say the same thing. They've kept clean sheets in 7 of the last 10 league games now. So you could see them shutting out Man United. I just can't see. I think ultimately, straightforward win for Arsenal will be one step closer towards Erik ten Hag being given the elbow. Southgate coming in after the Euros just to keep people like Mark Goldbridge happy. Arsenal have just won 4 in a row. They put 5 past Chelsea, 3 past Spurs and Bournemouth. All 3 of those teams are better than this Man United team on current form. I think Arsenal will get 3 here. You'll get the goal in both halves like you need. I'll take the Arsenal team total over 2.5 goals at evens.
The chat's clamouring for Baz versus Casemiro over 50 yards, Baz. You've gone 8-11 favourite. Barry 8-11, Casemiro 5-2. Get your bets on. We'll get that sorted in the summer, Baz. We'll drive down to Carrington. Is that what it's called? We'll get involved in that. Yes. Sorry, Patrick. I mean, Patrick's in the chat, being very nice and polite and patient. He's putting. I'll tell you what, Patrick's been informing his little builder bets here. He keeps tagging us in on Twitter. So, Patrick's gone over 7.5 Arsenal corners. Team total over 7.5.
And the Arsenal corner handicap.
Okay.
The corner hand. He likes Patrick, as a Man United fan, has got onto the fact that everybody gets loads of corners against him, as well as shots, but also the corner handicaps. Opposing Man United in those is something Patrick's picked out and has been good in recent weeks. So yeah, it's Arsenal on the handicap for corners and Arsenal total corners.
Monday night, we'll be back probably on Sunday, so we can mention this game again, but we always like to do the full slate together when we can. Aston Villa taking on Liverpool. Aston Villa are Burlington Bertie 100-30 plus 333. The draw 16-5 plus 320. Liverpool 7-10, -142. This, Barry, I think we've got the same pick, but it's your turn to go first.
Yeah, you might be right. Villa can secure a top 4 spot here with a win, and Liverpool are likely to be mathematically out of the title race this weekend, no matter what they do, I think. It was a bit of a strange one last week, and I'm never against teams celebrating. I don't like all this, over-celebrating thing. But there was a bit of it after they beat Spurs. I thought Sky got a bit carried away with a big Klopp love in again. It was almost like everyone forgot that they'd just blown the title shot against West Ham and Everton in the previous weeks, and got beat 3-0 off at Atalanta at Anfield.
Well, I forgot about that. It was good.
That was all forgotten about. But pressure off. Liverpool now, nothing really at stake other than pride, and maybe they'll finish strong. I still think Liverpool are hard to back at the moment, though. There have been a few things lately to suggest all isn't well in the camp. We had that strop with Mo Salah on the touchline. And last week, did you see the stuff with Darwin? He stormed off full time, straight down the tunnel, didn't look happy, and apparently removed all references to Liverpool from his social media. So Darwin Núñez is the latest one not to be happy. But Villa, just 1 win in 5 now. Now, granted, some of that does include Europa League. But the Brighton defeat was a poor one. It didn't matter massively because Spurs got beat as well, and I think fourth's pretty much wrapped up now. But I just decided I didn't really want anything to do with either of them here, so I'll just stick with what's worked lately in Liverpool games, and you just go with shots. Liverpool shots again. The line is 16.5 shots for Liverpool to get to evens. They've hit that in 7 of the last 9. They've just had 28 against. Who did they play last? Was it? Anyway, they've had 28 and 23 in the last 2 games.
Liverpool, Tottenham.
And the average 19 across the season. I just think another thing is what I've picked up quite a bit lately and done well with is sort of game script. I've been doing all right in play in games where, for example, last night, PSG go a goal down. PSG shots in play was an outstanding play. They got up to about 30. Same tonight, Club Brugge scored an early goal against Fiorentina. Fiorentina shots was brilliant again. They went up to 20. And I can see a situation here where Villa take the lead and Liverpool are having to chase it. And whether they're chasing it or not, Liverpool will create the chances. And I think 16.5 is low enough. Pick for me is Liverpool over 16.5 shots on goal at evens. I'm also taking a little bit of a ladder. Over 20 Liverpool shots is 7-2. And over 22 Liverpool shots is 6-1. I think we can get up the ladder. They hit those sort of numbers regular enough. Good opportunity.
We haven't got the same pick at all, Baz. So, handicapping this without singing how Villa got on against Olympiacos, which takes place on Thursday night. But I just think they have to be live here, Baz, at 130. I mean, by Monday night, Liverpool should officially be out of the title race. If anyone picks up a point, Arsenal and Manchester City, that they'll finish them off. And Villa still need points just in case, especially if Spurs beat Burnley. Villa have already beaten Arsenal and City at home. Obviously, they've had a little bit of a dip. They find it hard. But I just think they're absolutely live because Liverpool could just pack up. We've seen them lose games recently. And Villa are a better team than the teams Liverpool have lost against. That 2-2 at West Ham, they were dead wobbly. They've lost to Everton. Villa will be up for this. They've been good at home, under the lights on a Monday. Everyone up for it. I think Villa are live. I'll take Aston Villa to win at 130 plus 333. Before we move into the Championship playoffs, Baz, let's stick with our Premier League exotic bets. Do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, the pick for me as an underdog is Villa. So although it wasn't my main pick for the game, I like it. At the prices, I think it's too big. Villa will be my underdog of the week. What price did you have for Villa?
130.
130. That's a ridiculous price, really. So yeah, underdog of the week for me, Villa at 130. My scorer, I'm going to take Kai Havertz. I think Arsenal will run wild against Man United. Kai Havertz 6-4 for an anytime goal and 6-1 first goal. And my accumulator is a team total treble It's pushed to over 2.5 goals. So the following 3 teams all to score 3 or more: Newcastle, Man City, and Arsenal, all to score 3 or more. Comes in at 13-2 plus 650. I like that one.
Okay, my underdog is also Aston Villa, Barry, at 100-30. Goal scorer is going to be Dominic Solanke. Really like Bournemouth against Brentford. We both said it was a pretty straightforward pick. Solanke is 4-1 to score first and last, and 11-10 to score any time. And I fucking love this. I love this parlay, Baz. I love my accumulator. It's a half-time, full-time, so a double result, treble. Manchester City, half-time, full-time. Arsenal, half-time, full-time. And I'm throwing in Bournemouth, half-time, full-time. That pays 11-1. I think Man City and Arsenal are nailed on. And if Bournemouth can get ahead early, 11-1 seems like a right old price. So, yeah, absolutely over the moon with that one. Right, okay. Round about 10 minutes left to go. And we said we'd have a look at the Championship playoff games. We've got Norwich versus Leeds and West Brom versus Southampton, which are both next Sunday at 2 o'clock. And we've enlisted the help of Pat Foster. Pat Foster, friend of the show. If you like your music, go and listen to Pat's podcast, Rockin' the Suburbs. New music just about every day. All kinds of things. You'll find something you like. Pat's a regular in the chat. Me and Barry had a little guest spot on his show, talked a few northern indie bands. So Pat asked if he could give us the lowdown. Pat's a big Norwich fan, so he asked if he could give us the lowdown on Norwich versus Leeds this week. Without further ado, you might, if you're in the chat live, just ignore the fact that me and Barry are going to sit here like a couple of lemons here, because we're just listening to Pat as well. So this is Pat Foster with our Norwich City versus Leeds United preview.
Hey everybody, this is Pat Foster, and I just wanted to weigh in really quickly as a Norwich fan on the Norwich-Leeds playoff semifinal that's coming up this weekend. Before I give my thoughts, I just want to say thanks very much to Malcolm and Barry for a great year so far. It's been a lot of fun, won some money, laughed a lot listening to you guys, and it's fun to participate in the community you guys have built. And I know from doing a podcast myself that it's a lot of work, and you really have to stay up on it. So thank you guys very much for doing that. The playoff semifinal is going to be really difficult, I think, for Norwich fans, mostly because there's still a lot of love for Daniel Farke, who took Norwich up twice from the championship. He's now coaching Leeds, of course. So he seems to have this sort of psychological grip on Norwich. They beat us both times this year. Two German managers going at it. But for the purposes of this tie, I try to think of it as like 4 quarters. There's 2 halves at each team stadium, similar to like an NFL game. And I do think Norwich has got enough offensive firepower to stay with Leeds, especially at home. And especially given Leeds' struggles on the road. They've lost 3 of their last 4. We've got Sargent, Borja Sands, Gabriel Sar, and Jonathan Rowe, who's back from injury and should be available. I don't know if he'll start, but he definitely should play a part in the first leg and may, if everything goes well, be fit for the second match. But my big worry about Norwich is the back line. Every time the games have gotten close this season, they have started to look scared, and they start to make mistakes, and they make bad passes. Instead of clearing it, they try to play out from the back, and I think that's going to catch up with them over these 2 legs. I think the second leg being at Leeds, by the time that game comes around, I think the defense is just not going to be able to hold up against Leeds' attack. And with their home crowd and all the talented attackers they have, I don't think the Canaries are going to be going to Wembley this year, which is a shame because it would have been cool to go up at the same time as Ipswich and play the derby in the Premier League. But I just don't see us having enough over 2 legs to hold on. Now, if it was 1 match, maybe on a neutral site, maybe anything could happen in that one. But I just think having a second leg at Leeds, they're going to get us. Although I don't think either team's particularly good defensively. I think there'll be goals scored. in both games. I mean, I definitely can see, both teams scoring in over 2.5 and maybe in both games. So I don't think, Norwich is going to lose the first match, but it might even be a 1-1 draw.
It's Malcolm's 1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
But I do think Leeds will take the second one at home, as much as I hate to say it. So I think over the two legs, Leeds will be better by a goal or two. So thanks for letting me weigh in. If you use this, I appreciate it, and hope it helps. And best of luck to everyone who's having a bet on the EFL playoffs this weekend. Take care. Hey, everybody. This is Pat Foster, and I just wanted to weigh.
There we go. You got Pat for a second time there. Tell you what, A, thanks very much, Pat, but B, the chat went absolutely berserk for the dark, treacle, erotic audiobook sex voice of Pat Foster. Yeah, it's great to listen to, isn't he? There's nothing not to like about that. There was also some mildly offensive comments comparing it to mine and Barry's accents as well. So we'll gloss over those, Captain Insano. No, Pat has got absolutely a voice for reading stuff out. Norwich, I mean, this is a close game. It's hard to put a cigarette paper between all four of these teams here. Norwich are 9-4 on Sunday, plus 225. The draw 12-5 plus 240. And Leeds are short 15-13 plus 115. But I think you've got to give Norwich a chance. The home form in the league was excellent. They won 15 of 23. And I think 9-4 is a big price. Leeds have just fallen off, totally fallen off. I mean, they needed to get that win last week at home to Southampton. Got turned over. I think Norwich can edge this, but I certainly like the price, Baz. I would take Norwich at 9-4 here.
Yeah, so when you messaged me and said we were covering championship playoffs, I thought we were talking outright. So I started off with the outright. But I've got thoughts on the games anyway. But just to come up with the prices first of all, Southampton are 6-4 favourites to be promoted from here, so plus 150. Leeds at 13-8, plus 167. Norwich at 5-1. West Brom 6-1. So that's where we've got the outright form. None of these sides are in particularly good form to finish the season. None of them have more than 2 wins in the last 5. So Norwich, 1 win in 5. Leeds, 1 win in 5. Southampton and West Brom, 2 wins in the last 5. But both Southampton and West Brom have lost 3 of their last 5 as well. Leeds, similar, 3 defeats in 5 games. So no good form for any of them. What I did do, though, was have a look at the head-to-heads over the season. Leeds have won the head-to-head over Norwich twice. Southampton have won the head-to-head over West Brom twice this season. So easy enough to see why they'd be favourites to qualify. And then continuing with that, if the 2 favourites did go through, Southampton have beaten Leeds twice this season already, including the win last weekend, just at the weekend there. I like Southampton to qualify. I think Southampton, it's short, it's 6-4. It's not particularly attractive. But if I had to pick a team to come up, I would go with Southampton at this stage, I think. But for the weekend, I like Norwich. I think Norwich at home. Leeds haven't wobbled quite a bit lately. I think Norwich at 9-4 are a good price. So if I was looking at the weekend's games alone, I'll take Norwich at 9-4 plus 225 in that one. And I'll just throw out my pick for Southampton. I don't have a very big handicap for that at all. But I've just went with Southampton. I think Southampton will win both legs in that one. I think Southampton will win away from home 31-20, so just over 6-4. I'll take Southampton to beat West Brom in the first leg as well.
Okay, so same pick here, Baz. Michael's just joined us late and he's got no idea where the entire chat is. It appears that we've been overtaken by sex bots, but it's not. It's just the normal people who are all still aroused by Pat. So that's what's going on there, Michael, if you're wondering. Yeah, I've got Southampton as well, Baz, to add to my Norwich pick. West Brom have only won 2 of the last 8 in the league. It was the home form that did get them through this season, really. They've beaten Leeds and Norwich at home. But I just think Southampton are the better team. They were 12 points better than them over the course of the season. They won both games against West Brom, Baz, you pointed out. and they're scoring 1.5 goals per game on the road. So Southampton have got enough. So Southampton 6-4 plus 150 to win that game at the weekend. And I think, Baz, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, right on the hour mark, we have covered everything. Anything else you want to tell us about, Baz, before we let the people go and have a cold shower or a strong cup of tea or a spot of bromide or a little tug, whatever, whatever will sort it out for people, Baz?
No, just a reminder for everyone who enjoyed listening to the dulcet tones of Pat Foster that you can listen to him over at Rockin' the Suburbs on his own podcast. And as you say, new content pretty much every day. So go give that a listen. But cheers to Pat as well for shouting up again. For anyone that doesn't know, Pat's the one who done the 1-1 of the week jingle for Malcolm all that time ago.
Yes, it was Pat. Yeah, he's a very talented man.
But that's all from...
That's it. I'm guessing we'll be back Sunday night, Baz, to have a look at those midweek games. Next midweek in the Premier League, Manchester United going to Newcastle. I'm already fucking dreading every second of that. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's get this garbage out the way first. Don't forget, I forgot to mention the Eurovision show. When's that coming out, Baz? Now?
I'm going to do it tonight. As soon as I come off here, I'll put the Eurovision one out and then I'll put the Premier League one out.
First semi-final last night, Croatia emerged unscathed from the semi-final. Anyone who was in the live chat might know that Croatia is the answer. It's a dog shit song. I hate it. But our Eurovision man, our man in Malmo, was all over it. So, yeah, we'll see. Right. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, Malcolm, that was loads of fun. Can you remember? Sorry. Whilst Pat was talking, I held up 4 different items. Can you name any of those 4 items?
I think I can name them. Oh, shit. I can. There was a tin of tuna.
Tick.
Hot sauce.
A what?
Hot sauce.
A fruit sauce.
Sauce. Chili sauce.
Chili sauce, yeah. We've got a Cholula chili sauce, yeah.
There was a mayonnaise squirty. Mayonnaise brackets squirty.
Correct, yeah. One left.
I forgot the first one. Lee Smith's gone for beans. Beans.
Yeah, to be more specific, it's actually sausage and beans.
Oh, is it?
Beans with sausages, yeah.
Oh, who eats the sausage and beans?
Yeah, the kids like them.
I tell you what I've been into, Baz. Tinned ravioli. I'm back on that. I hadn't had one for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I suddenly got a hankering for it. I'm smashing 5 or 6 a week. No problem. No problem. If it's a lunchtime, I'll have half a tin, because I'm disciplined, Barry, on 1 slice of toast. If it's a tea time, I'll have the whole tin on 2 slices of toast. It's a miracle I'm in such incredible physical condition, really, with stuff like that going on. Right. Stop talking bollocks. Thanks, everyone, for listening. That was tons of fun. And we'll see you on Sunday night. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.